Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at another Tuesday night slate here in the NBA playoffs, Nate. We are going to kick things off with the Eastern Conference. Game 5, the Heat looking to close out the Hawks back in Miami for this one. So we will be taking a look at some of the best bets and a few player props. As always, make sure to like and subscribe to that page. We're going to continue to bring you each and every single playoff game with a game video here, as well as that player props video that we'll bring you for each of these days that we have playoff games as well. Definitely want to make sure you're liked and subscribed to continue following along there. Also want to head to thelines.com. That is where we have our awesome odds checker out there for you when you guys are shopping those lines, making it really easy for you to find the best odds available on all the bets you want to make tonight. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to ftpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, Hawks are plus 7.5 now after getting rolled at home. Miami expected to close this thing out. Total is 217 down there in South Beach. And then two other games, pretty much the same spread here. Plus 6.5 for the underdogs, the Wolves, despite pulling out a win over Memphis in game 4. Totals at 232 there, which seems to be exactly where it was last game. And then the Pelicans, after really just controlling the Suns to even that series, are also plus 6.5 as we go back to Phoenix. Total, again, seems pretty low for that one at 215. We like the over at 216 in the last game and definitely hit. All right. So Hawks Heat. I mean, this was a pretty surprising just in how far from being close it was. We thought that Trae Young would find a little more success with Kyle Lowry out of the lineup, but it turns out that it's Miami's just overall scheme that just baffles him. And not only they shut down Trae, they shut down Bogdanovic, who we thought would be left open the way they were doubling Trae and cutting him off. Bogey and Herter combined 2 for 11 from 3. The team, again, a terrible assist to turnover ratio for the Hawks, 18-15, while the Heat go 22 and 6 turnovers, and also outscore the Hawks 48-26 in the paint. It's exactly the scenario that you'd expect from a team that's bigger, stronger, tougher, and more seasoned in the playoffs. And they did definitely respond from losing on almost a buzzer beater in game 3. Now it's looking like a gentleman's sweep. Question is, are the Heat going to cover 7? I think that's definitely possible. I think if you are at all concerned about this turning into a close one because Atlanta doesn't lay down, I feel slightly more confident about the Heat holding Atlanta under that team total of 105 again, which they did by a pretty wide margin in both of these home games to start the series, than I would the Heat covering 7 points. I don't think that that's out of the question, though, with the Hawks 6-20 against the spread as road dogs this season. That's the worst in the NBA. Trae Young's struggles have been worse in Miami. We talked over and over. The reason we kind of liked the Hawks in game 4 is because of those home road splits and now on the road where they average 5.5 more turnovers per game. It's not looking good. And that Heat defense, the reason we like under 105, they allow the second fewest paint points at home, the second lowest assist to turnover ratio, and the 6th lowest 3-point percentage. And that's, where else are the Hawks going to score? I mean, they don't have much of a mid-range game other than Gallo. I don't think he's going to carry you. He is not that dude anymore. And they scored 52% of their points off threes in game 4 to even have some sort of respectability. I mean, they have 81 points in the middle of the fourth quarter. Yeah. So as long as Miami's locked in like this, which they basically have been since Jimmy and Spoelstra got into that spat, they're kind of banged up with Lowry and Bam out. I don't think they're going to mess around in closing out this series. So lots of different ways to back them to just win and probably cover that 7-point spread. But I would lean towards their defense being the reason why they win.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you're fair to take either the Hawks under 105.5 or you're fair to just take the Heat to win by 7. I'm fine with that. I think they're winning by double digits. They have, in every win they've won by double digits. And, the only reason they lost the game that they lost, to be honest, is they lost the turnover battle, which the team who wins the turnover battle in this series so far has won every game. It was a really, really bad. They lost by 1 point, despite having 18 turnovers in that game. But it's just such a huge discrepancy between how they play, in terms of the outcome of their games when they don't turn the ball over versus when they do. I know it sounds super simple, but it's actually more important for them than most teams, because of the couple of things. One, their defense on their second unit just isn't the same as the defense that has, Bam and Jimmy on the floor at the same time, and Kyle Lowry, et cetera. So as a result, they really do need to keep the ball in their hands because they are giving up a bit more points from their bench. Their bench didn't score in game 4. It was terrible. And it's been the best scoring bench all season, obviously led by 6th man of the year, likely, winner Tyler Hero there, just scoring. So, the only reason it's not leading in the playoffs this time is because now Steph Curry's coming off the bench for Golden State, skewing all those numbers, but they're still, in the top 3 in the playoffs. And yeah, I think that's my point there is they didn't even have that last game. And they didn't turn the ball over and they were fine. So I think they're going to continue that, not beat themselves in this one. I agree with you. They don't need Kyle Lowry to come back in this one. They should be just fine. I kind of mentioned to you in the last game video, he's not even really the guy guarding Trae Young, right? It's definitely more of a team effort for the Heat in terms of making sure that he's done, because they are just getting the ball out of his hands right away, as we talked about last video, so that they don't even really need to worry about if he's going to be getting around screens or not. And at this point, Clint Capella came back. He did his best, man. He tried, but it's just not there for him right now. He played 20 minutes and then obviously wasn't able to do much to get 7 boards, but just a result of being 7 feet tall and standing down there on those defensive rebounds. And yeah, I think, like I said, the guys shutting down Trae Young at this point are Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, and a little bit of Jimmy in there, but mostly those 2 guys are spending most of the time on there. But like I said, there's always another guy right there on at the top of the key next to them waiting. And I think that's the continued strategy. Trae now, not only has he been really bad against Atlanta, as we've talked about, in his last 10 versus them, which is a large sample size, obviously 20 points a game under his average by about 6 points in that time span, 7 assists, 4 boards, but 6 turnovers a game, shooting 28% from 3, not getting to the free throw line like he does, only about he had 1 attempt last game and missed it. So, you also, last thing for him in those elimination games that he played last season, 17.5 points, 9.5 assists, also 4.5 turnovers in that time. But, at 39 minutes, he's shooting 9 for 40 and 2 for 17 from 3. He didn't show up in either of those games. The reason they beat Philly was because Kevin Huerter came out of nowhere to make a name for himself, and earned himself a nickname. So I think that's a continued strategy here, is under their points, because they don't have Trae, which is the engine. And as we say, a walking NBA offense. But if he's not bringing it for them, DeAndre Hunter's 24 points was really nice in game 4. It's just not close to what their need, how they play and who they need to be scoring to win this game.
No, I think Miami's funneling those points towards Hunter, and they're totally fine with that.
Right.
If they're going to be able to hold Young and Bogey in check, then they know they're going to win. And I don't hate the overall under here. I don't think Miami's offense is necessarily going to erupt, but maybe you need to tease it up to 221, which is where it's been all series, and that's why all 4 games have gone under. The one Atlanta won was very, very close, but we're expecting lower scoring in Miami. They're 6-5 to the under at home since the start of March, and those games averaging 216, just a shade under this total. You just look at the short rest here as a 1 day off turnaround, and Atlanta was, 6-10 against the spread on no rest or short rest, if whatever you want to call that, if you want to draw that parallel. And they went 22-13 to the under as dogs on the season, and they've gone under in 6 straight playoff games and play-in games here, which more just speaks to their offense performing below expectations. They close out the regular season with one of the best offensive ratings. We think they're just scoring at an efficient clip, and then they get into a dogfight right away against maybe the scariest defensive team in the playoffs. And all of a sudden it just flatlines that offense. So I wouldn't look towards the Hawks to put up a lot of points here. I wouldn't look towards the Heat to lapse on their defensive prowess here after they handled business to get this 3-1 lead. I think they take care of it. They put the clamps on and hold that Hawks offense in check once again.
Yeah, and if you think that, like I said, then you're really talking Trae Young unders. We don't have his props up as we record this the morning before on Monday, but we do, I do expect them to be, 26.5, 27.5 points for Trae. I think you can go under there. I think for Jimmy, I want to see what he's got, but I mean, look, he's averaging 30 in the series at this point in 37 minutes. Yeah, Jimmy, his per 36 numbers are right there in those 37 minutes a game he's getting anyway. So, 30 points, 8 boards, 5 assists. Got to like that. His 44 splits with a 34% usage. So that individual offensive rating above 120, 8.5 free throw attempts a game. Everything that he wants to do, if you drew up what are the keys to success for Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, in this series, everything he's doing is exactly what they need.